tool here, and that lets you save.
Look here.
True Form Life.
Green look on it.
Welcome to another edition of Exploring Mind and Body. As always, I'm your host, True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. On today's show, we're welcoming back holistic nutritionist Rick Kohut. He's also a biofeedback technician, owner of Health Street, and a local farmer right here in Olds. And he's going to tell us all about digestion. We've got all that coming up on...
This is Exploring Mind and Body with True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert on 96.5 CKFM.
This segment brought to you by True Form Fitness for all your health and fitness needs. Personal training and group classes available locally. Visit trueformlife.com for details.
All right, Rick, thanks so much for joining us back here on Exploring Mind and Body.
Right on. Well, thanks for having me back. It's good to be back.
So we're going to talk about digestion today, and why is this an important topic?
Digestion is probably one of the main causes of sickness and discomfort and illness probably in our society today. And it's really easy to experience bad digestion with a lot of the advertising that's going on and the information and the bad information, I should say, that we get from food companies and our surroundings. So when we watch the TV and we see fast food advertisements and all these awesome combo meals, we don't realize that combination of food is actually really bad for our digestion. So, yeah, it's one of those things that's not very well understood, and people should learn more about it, and they could have a lot more energy and a lot fewer health problems.
Okay, so digestion is something that you specialize in. So I brought a couple of my fitness ladies to come and see you about digestion and about how to go about a healthier diet. So I was just wondering, in general, why is digestion something that interests you enough to specialize in it?
Over the years as a nutritionist, that's one of the things that really stood out for me, is that so many people were battling just poor digestion and experiencing a lot of the symptoms that you'd normally find with a digestion problem. So I started specializing in it and seeing really awesome results with my clients, and I just expanded from there, and now it's something that I really focus on with most of my clients.
Okay, so let's jump into it here. Before we get into too many details, what is digestion? We know that our stomach does something after we eat food, and there's complications often, as you're telling us here. So what is digestion and how does it work? Okay,
well, so a lot of people think that digestion just happens in the stomach, and it actually doesn't. There's a big process to digestion, but just to sum it up, it's basically the consumption, breakdown of foods, and then the assimilation and metabolism of all those types of foods in our body so that we can use it as energy. It also includes the elimination of whatever's left from that food too. So it's a big process, an important process, and as long as you know some of the basic guidelines, you can really improve your digestion a lot.
So with some of the tips today, you're going to help us understand digestion and how to feel better after eating food.
Yeah, I'll throw out some tips there for sure.
All right. So for people that aren't quite sure, I would imagine a lot of people have discomfort after eating and don't even know they have a digestion issue. You run into people like that? They just come to you for some other reason maybe, and then they ask you, and then you say, well, it's a digestion issue?
Yeah, a lot of times. So, see, a lot of people don't realize that how much energy digestion actually takes. So just like for somebody who eats really quite well, the process of digestion can take more than 50% of their energy that they have throughout the day. So when you consider that, you have to be careful, because if you have a bad meal, or if you're eating foods in the wrong combination, or you have all kinds of other issues going on, digestion can consume maybe up to 80% of your energy. So what does that leave you with? At the end of the day, you're left with 20% of that energy, where you could have had 50% of that energy to go about your day and think and to move and to exercise and, to go to work and all those kinds of things. So, all these people running around that are lethargic and tired and don't have enough energy to get through the day, you got to wonder if they're spending that energy digestion food, that trying to digest food and not being successful doing it.
Yeah, brings up a great point, because I can't tell you how many times people come to me and say right after lunch they run into energy issues. They hit that 2 p.m. wall, and they're struggling to get through the day. So it's a good point right there to bring up, that a lot of that has to do with digestion and where your energy goes. Yeah,
maybe right now is a good time to kind of list some of those signs that people could experience with bad digestion or a digestion issue.
Yeah, sure. Tell us some of the signs that people might run into.
Okay, so yeah, if there's a digestion issue going on, these are some of those signs that you'd experience, like craving fluids after a meal, or bloating after a meal, indigestion, acid reflux, constipation. That's a big one. Diarrhea, itching skin. A lot of people don't realize that that's related to digestion, but it really is.
Anything? Just itching?
Yeah, just like itching skin. Yeah, itching skin's a big one.
Okay.
Belching and gas and stomach pain. Those are all signs that you might have a digestion issue going on.
Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia is brought to you in part by Kathy and Connie, the new real estate team in town with Widmer Realty. Contact them today for all your real estate needs.
Okay, so now we know some of the things to look out for. What happens if this happens? Like, what happens if my skin starts itching? Is it something like an allergy? Is it certain foods? Or is it the way we're eating? Is it the time we're eating? How do people understand how to remedy these digestion issues or signs and symptoms?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's a challenge to figure out exactly what it is. But basically, as soon as you have a better understanding of how digestion works, and maybe some really key tips, then it's a lot easier to remedy that stuff. But it's not just one thing. I think in today's society, we're led to think that way, that, if we have itching skin, let's put some lotion on it, right? And that's going to help it. Or, if we have acid reflux, then why not take a Tums and get rid of that, right? Yeah. But what we don't realize is that we're not looking at the root cause of what's going on. We're just band-aiding a symptom. And that's what we don't want to do, especially when it comes to digestion. And if I could share something about what happens with Tums, for example.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so a lot of people use antacids, and it's just an epidemic out there. They use antacids or acid neutralizing medications. And sure, absolutely they work. They get rid of that sensation and that acid reflux, but the problem is that they neutralize stomach acid. And all you have to know is the purpose of stomach acid, and then you'll stop taking all those types of things, because stomach acid is absolutely critical for digesting proteins. So, after you have that steak, here in Alberta, we love our Alberta beef, right? So, we're going to have that burger or that steak or that good piece of meat, whatever it might be. But when we have that, that's primarily proteins. It's a very high amount of protein that we're consuming at one time. If we don't have good stomach acid, so if we took a Tums or a Rolaids or one of those before that meal or even soon after it, we're neutralizing that acid that is critical, that is used in digestion of proteins. So that leaves us with undigested proteins in our stomach.
So what happens to those proteins?
Well, what can happen is they can go down into your small intestine, and your small intestine is in that lining is where it's absorbed, and then it's brought into the liver, and the liver is where it metabolizes everything. And if the liver can't recognize the actual form of a broken down nutrient in the form that it can recognize, then it's stressed out. So it causes the liver to be overburdened with stress. and it still has to metabolize that stuff. But what it's going to do, instead of metabolizing those proteins properly, it's going to try to detoxify because it sees it as a bit of a toxin. So it's a really challenging process. It overburdens our whole digestive system, and that's where you might go from normally spending 50% of your energy digesting to about 80 or even more, leaving us with less energy to get through our day. So that overburdens our whole digestive system.
So what would happen to someone in the morning? So we have a heavy meal. A lot of people, especially around here, will have a steak and potatoes in the evening, and then they'll be drained after their meal. Not that long after that, they'll go to bed. But in the morning, like a lot of people, they need a coffee and some pastry to help them wake up. And does that translate from the evening to the morning? Do people wake up sluggish a lot of time because of what they're eating at night?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you eat at night, like it's you want a complete digestion. You want your stomach kind of empty before you go to bed. That's just one of those tips, I guess. If your stomach is empty before you go to bed, then it gets rid of a lot of that requirement for extra energy. But yeah, if you have a steak and potatoes, that's another thing. Eating a protein like that takes a long time to digest. So you're probably going to have to wait at least a couple hours after a meal like that before you want to go to bed. Otherwise, it's still going to be in your stomach. So you want that food in your small intestine where it actually breaks down a lot further. So, but yeah, absolutely. At night, your body is metabolizing all those nutrients. So it's actually expending a lot of energy. It's also detoxifying. So if in the morning, if you feel lethargic, that could be one of the reasons, is that you're not maybe eating at the right time or combining the wrong foods together. So that can translate for sure to poor energy in the morning.
Okay, I know you want to get into food combining a little bit. Just before that, we talked about acid reflux and indigestion. Can you give us a couple tips or something along the lines to remedy it? Because a lot of people go through that, and we talked about how Tums, Rolaids might not be the best idea. There's something that they can do besides treating? Can they prevent in some way?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the easiest things that you can do to start out with is to start cutting back on the Tums and the Rolaids and any of the antacids, because they're challenging your gut, they're challenging digestion, and they're overstressing your liver. So what you can do is you can take something called a digestive enzyme. So if you're used to taking a supplement or Tums, then take a digestive enzyme. They're plant-based digestive enzymes. There's tons of awesome ones over at Health Street there. But basically they support digestion rather than prevent it. So they're actually providing enzymes, which are the things that our body produces and our pancreas produces to break down those particles and those proteins and those nutrients to the form that your body can utilize them. So you could take that as a supplement, and that'll alleviate a lot of that issue. You can also consume something called apple cider vinegar. It's really helpful, and it stimulates good acid production in the stomach, which helps you digest those proteins and foods a lot quicker. You know, another thing most people don't realize is that acid reflux is not usually caused by too much stomach acid. It's actually caused by not enough stomach acid.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of people would think it was the other way around.
Yeah, and most people do. But when we have low stomach acid, basically our body wants to make more because it senses that we're going to eat, right? The triggers go off and we need to eat something, so our body's going to want to produce more acid. So it's churning, and in that churning process and the movement of the gut, it'll splash some acid up into the esophageal opening.
Okay.
So it's usually from too little stomach acid.
Exploring mind and body with Trueform's Drew Tadia would not be possible without the help from the following sponsors: AG Foods in Didsbury, Health Street in the Cornerstone Shopping Center Olds, and Shoppers Drug Mart, working together to help build a healthier tomorrow. For more information on Trueform Life, Drew Tadia, or how to become a sponsor of Exploring Mind and Body, visit trueformlife.com.
This segment brought to you by Complete Truth Protein Powder. Live free, live true with whole natural foods. No additives, preservatives, soy, gluten, and dairy free. Supplement with superfoods to energize your day. Visit CompleteTruthProtein.co for details.
All right, so what are the main reasons or ways that people abuse their digestive system?
All right. Yeah, well, there's three big ones that I kind of categorize them with, and one is fake foods. These are processed foods, refined sugar, artificial ingredients, and preservatives. That's the first one. The second one is improper food combining. So people often eat simple carbs like sugars with meats. That's the main one right there. So you'll see that in a fast food meal, right? You've got a big huge thing of pop, and you've got a burger with you got your protein and your meat there, and then your pop. It's the worst food combining issue right there. So that was number 2. Number 3, stressful eating. So this is eating when you're stressed, or when you're upset, or you're angry, or you're in a hurry, or eating on the go. So when you're stressed out, your body doesn't produce the proper amount of enzymes. You're not ready for digestion. Digestion should be done when you're relaxed. So those are the 3 ones there: fake foods, improper food combining, and stressful eating. Those are the 3 ways that people abuse their digestive system.
Okay, so now we've went over how people have abused their digestive system. How can we improve our digestion? Is there's some tips? You're going to give us some quality products so people know how to navigate through health food stores. How can people improve this big issue we have at hand?
All right. Well, I guess I'll give you a few of the basic rules of the stomach and digestion. So, ideally, fluids should be consumed alone and not necessarily with meals. Fluids digest quite quickly, so when you mix that with a meal, it speeds up digestion a little too fast. So, drink your fluids alone, and don't drink a lot of fluids with your meals. A big one one big rule people break a lot is coffee at meal times. Shouldn't consume coffee at meal times. Keep that away from your meals. 1 to 1.5 hours before or after a meal is ideal. Another big one is drinking milk with meals. A lot of people drink milk, but milk is very basic, and that type of pH, it will actually neutralize stomach acid, which really affects digestion a lot. Eat your fruits alone, not with anything else. Fruits are like a carbohydrate, a really simple carb. It's like sugars, so you shouldn't have that with your meals. So eat them alone. Small meals are always better. Slow your meals down. Chew your food, savor it, and enjoy it. That's one way that you'll digest your food a lot better. Another good tip: eat for nutrition and not for stimulation. Eat when hungry and not when you're bored.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so if you follow some of those rules, it'll make a huge difference. And stay away from antacids. Those things, they hurt you in the long run. If you're trying to improve your health in the long run, do not take those things. They're not good for your gut.
Okay. All right. Thanks for those tips. So you have some new material that's going to be on your website for people to help improve their digestive system. What do you have for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So on my website, you can get the 5-step plan to digestion perfection, it's called, and you can actually get that for free. It's a really good list of all those things that you can do step by step. So it's the basics, but it can really help you out a lot. And also you can get the rules of the stomach, which is basically a lot of those tips that I was telling you about, but it explains it in more detail. And they're rules and tips that'll help you simply make good decisions moving forward, and it'll help you live a healthier life and have a lot more energy.
So that's at thegoodfoodguy.com?
That's it. Yeah, thegoodfoodguy.com.
Okay. All right, Rick, thanks so much for joining us again. It's always a pleasure listening to all the knowledge you have about these different subjects. So go in and check out Rick at Health Street. He'll tell you just about anything you need to know about to improve your health. Anything you want to add, Rick?
No, that's good. It's great being on the show again, Drew. Appreciate it. And yeah, I hope that helps people out.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Rick. Again, that's Rick's at Health Street. He owns Health Street, and he's a local farmer, and he does a lot of good things for our community. And he's been a longtime sponsor of Exploring Mind and Body, so we always appreciate that. So hopefully we'll catch Rick in the next couple weeks here, and we'll have him back on the show.
Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadian. Brought to you in part by Curves Complete, the whole solution that makes burning fat as easy as 1, 2, 3. Get exercise, meal plan, and coaching for $14.95 a week. Call Curves and Olds at 403-556-5992 to schedule a free, no obligation appointment.
All right, that's all we have for you this evening. As always, I'm your host, True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. For more on Trueform's Drew Tadia, visit trueformlife.com. Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia would not be possible without the help of GDK Gravel and Sand. GDK Gravel and Sand, now offering all products in 1/2 and 1 yard bags. Give them a call today for more information. 1-877-335-2091.